There's a cord in the back of your knee. Look, if you want to feel it, all you got to do is just reach to the back of your knee, and then I want you to just contract your muscles. And on the inside, that medial aspect, you're going to feel this cord just pushing into your skin. It's kind of cool. At least I think it is. That is the tendon of the semitendinosus, which is one of 3 hamstring muscles. And in today's video, with the help of this 100% free Kenhub article that we've gone ahead and left a link down in the description below, we are going to be learning all about this muscle. Now, like I said, it's one of 3 hamstrings. Now, here's the cool part about the hamstring muscles, or really, more properly, we would say the posterior thigh compartment muscles, is that they really do the same things as each other. Like, there's going to be nuances, but all 3 of them are synergists to each other, meaning that they are going to work together to accomplish similar functions. So, this muscle, semitendinosus. Now, again, why is it called semitendinosus? Well, it's that cord you're feeling. Again, you can just kind of feel it jetting out. It's about the third or so the length of the muscle, maybe less than that. Maybe it's like a quarter. It kind of just depends. But you can see part of it right here. And so the whole muscle is highlighted in green. But we can see part of its tendon here. But what you're missing is that it's, from this view, is that it wraps around and it attaches on the front of the knee. Right, so now we can see this better view of it right there. What it's doing is attaching to the tibia. Now, where is it attaching to the tibia? I want you to go ahead and feel this as well. If you go to the front of your shin on that tibia, there's this bump. That bump is called the tibial tuberosity. Now, it's not actually attaching at the tibial tuberosity. So again, if we look at this image, this is the tibial tuberosity. Instead, it's just to the side of it. We call this, and buckle up because this is going to blow your mind, medial to the tibial tuberosity. Look, I actually prefer a lot of those attachments because it's just telling you as descriptively as it possibly can where it's located. So this is considered medial to the tibial tuberosity. Now here is the thing, it is not the only muscle that inserts there. In fact, there are 2 others. The sartorius, which is part of the anterior thigh compartment, which is really what we're seeing the tendon of here. What's happening is semitendinosus is joining with this right here. We're not getting a great view of it, but the focus is going to be more so right here. But sartorius, which is part of your anterior thigh compartment, and then also the gracilis. The gracilis is part of the medial thigh compartment, also commonly known as the adductors. All 3 of them converge together to form like a singular tendon, more or less, at this attachment site of medial to the tibial tuberosity. In fact, we have a name for it. It's called the pes anserinus, which stands for goose foot. Because if you were to kind of like separate all 3 tendons, it can look like a goose foot in its appearance. So its insertion for semitendinosus is going to be on the anterior side of the knee, and that is going to be at the tibial tuberosity, or medial to the tibial tuberosity. Now, where does it originate? Now, we'll go back to this image here. Its origin is going to be all the way up on the posterior side of the hip. There's a chunk of bone that, if you've ever sat on somebody and they're like, hey, you got a bony butt, that is the ischial tuberosity, or your sits bones. And so the sits bone, or the ischial tuberosity, is just this giant chunk of bone on the posterior part of your ischium, which is part of your os coxa, which is this gigantic bone here. Now, we can also see the sacrum and coccyx, but if we took away this, all of that is going to be your os coxa, and the ischium is one part of it. And so what's happening is the hamstrings, all 3 of them, originate at this spot of the ischial tuberosity. And so semitendinosus is no different. But what it's doing is it then goes from there and inserts medial to the tibial tuberosity at that pes anserinus. Whereas the other 2 are going to have different insertion points, and that's what creates the nuance in what they do. But again, they all do the same thing, more or less. There is going to be some difference. Now, to show you what it's going to do, we're going to watch a video. But before we get there, I also want to show you the innervation of this muscle. So what you're looking at here is basically the sciatic nerve. So the sciatic nerve is going to start all the way up here. It's going to branch off of the low back, right? So like towards the lumbar and sacral region. And then what it's going to do is it's going to travel down the entire length of the thigh. And when it gets to the posterior part of the knee, it bifurcates, it splits. It turns into 2 different nerves. You have the tibial nerve and then the common peroneal, or also called the common fibular nerve. So the common fibular nerve is going to go on the lateral side, and it even swings around and innervates the anterior side of your crus. But that's not what we're concerned with. We are focused on the tibial nerve. So the tibial nerve is what is going to be going down towards the posterior side of the crust. The thing is, it also innervates the entire posterior thigh. So it's going to be innervating the semitendinosus as well. So from this view, even though these are showing nerves, I want you to picture semitendinosus would be about right here, and then it would travel down and then swing around to the anterior side of the tibia. And so that's what it's going to do, right? That's its course, and it just makes sense that the tibial nerve, which is one half of the sciatic nerve, would be innervating it. Now, okay, like I said, we want to jump up and see some actions. And what's cool is we have this animated video to show you. Now, this is a premium feature. I'm going to go ahead and full screen this. This is a premium feature while the article is free, but I just want you to check this out because this is really cool, and it just goes to show how valuable these videos can be. So what it's going to do is it's going to walk us through the actions. And so what we can see here is extension of the thigh. Now I'm going to go ahead and pause this. Extension of the thigh and extension of the hip are the exact same thing. It's just kind of a potato type motion. So, or a way to describe it. So as the thigh was in this flex state, so it went all the way up and we could see it horizontal. When it came back down, that was extension, right? So extension is going to be back towards that neutral position. Now, what we're also going to see, oh yes, and it's telling you again, like I was saying, they're synergists, right? It works in conjunction with the semitendinosus and the biceps femoris, which are the other two hamstrings. But the other thing that it's going to do, and you can see the whole length of the semitendinosus in this image, is it's going to flex the leg. Now, the other way you could say that would be flexion of the knee. Same thing, again, potato. So what's happening is we have the entire crust going up, right? The heel is kind of pointing up, that calcaneus. This is flexion of the knee. All three of the hamstrings do this. So we had all three hamstrings doing extension of the thigh or the hip, and now we have all three hamstrings performing flexion of the leg or of the knee. So that is going to be what it does, but that's not all it does. And we're going to let the video kind of push through and kind of explain this more because there is another function that it has. But again, just wanted to show you how that works. Oh, and I love this too because what we do is like to talk about just when these muscles are active. So you can think like during running and just kind of like how the leg would be flexing and, you know, everything that goes with it in what we would call gait. Now, the next action and the final action of it is going to be rotation. Specifically, it's internal rotation. So in order to, let me actually pause the video here. In order to get rotation at the knee has to be in a flexed position, because if the knee is in an extended position, anytime you try to rotate the knee, it's just going to actually be the hip all the way up top. So in order to get the rotation of the knee, you have to break the plane, and when you're in that position, that is then going to allow you to get some actual rotation in there. And so what semitendinosus is going to perform is what's called internal or medial rotation of the knee. And it's a very small amount. There's only about 10 degrees of this, so we can actually see this in action. And it's kind of trying to show you, like, imagine you're sitting in a chair and you just kind of twist your knee inwards. That is what you could see as internal or medial rotation. So again, there's only about 10 degrees of it, which if you think about 360 degrees, 10 degrees is almost nothing. It's a very small amount, but it is still there. And this is going to be important during walking and running and just kind of twisting and moving in general. All of that is going to be absolutely essential. So that's pretty much it. That's the semitendinosus, right? So we have three actions, right? We have flexion of the knee, we have extension of the hip, and we have medial or internal rotation of the knee. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. And while you're down there, remember, click the link in the description. You can go ahead and check out this 100% free Kenhub article. These things are amazing. They're packed with information, and they are going to help you pass any test, any quiz. I promise you, it's just the way that we've built it. But also, when you're down there, leave us a comment. Let us know what you'd like us to discuss in future videos. But as always, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one.